You you like Puss in Boots, right?
I love Puss in Boots.
Yeah, you like Puss in Boots. What about Kitty Southpaws?
The things I would do.
I like the latest animated film about Puss in Boots and The Last Wish. Amazing animation, a good script, cool fight scenes, and pretty decent music. Personally, though, I prefer Turning Red. Only sucks that he didn't win an Oscar, but that's not what I'm here to talk about. I'm here to talk about the video game for Puss in Boots. Not for the latest movie, but the prequel. You know, the first Puss in Boots movie? If you somehow don't know about Puss in Boots, he's a fairy tale character, just like every other character from the Shrek universe, pretty much. And DreamWorks decided that Puss in Boots was such a big fucking character that he deserved his own movie and whatnot. And McDonald's toys!
Rock and roll McDonald's! Rock and roll Mac.
I wrote a bad joke about a donkey sitcom here, but it sucks. I'm not gonna put that in the video. Anyway, I decided to review Puss in Boots because it so happens that my most popular video on YouTube is a Puss in Boots related shitpost that I made. It's only about 14 seconds long and it's a pretty bad joke. It got a lot of views, but then one day it stopped growing, just like my previous Spyro video just did a few days ago. So I wanted to honor my biggest shitpost to date, and in a way let it die at the same time because I fucking hate it. Alright, let's get to the game. The game released in 2011, developed by developed by Blitz Games. They seem to mostly work on games based off of movies and series. You may recognize the publisher, THQ, because they also work on a lot of games based off of movies and series as well. They know how to make shitty movie games or whatever, I guess. I can't find a lot of info on the game online, other than reviews and, stuff like that. The voice acting is not that great, and they're not the same voice actors that appears in the movie, and I try to look up the voice actors on Behind the Voice Actor or whatever. It will only show you Andre as Puss in Boots, who also happens to voice a lot of cats in Skyrim, so I guess he found his true calling in life. Nobody seems to know who voiced Humpty Dumpty, and there are no other credits on the site. I'm not kidding. I even went through the trouble of a 5 to 10 minute long credit roll. I didn't find anything. There's a Fruit Ninja version of Puss in Boots, but that's not too related to this game, I guess, but it's still a game. It was also released on the PS3, Xbox 360, and Nintendo Wii, with motion controls, of course. And I should also mention the Nintendo DS release, which is a rhythm game. It's like a shitty DDR for your DS, basically. Anyway, the game looks fine. The level design is pretty good. It's alright. I don't really have much to say about the soundtrack, but the gameplay, the gameplay fucking sucks. The input sucks. Even in the menus they suck. It either feels like there's a cooldown whenever I press a button, and sometimes it feels like the inputs aren't even being registered. There are motion controls, but I didn't get to use nearly any of it, except for one time when I got to shake the fuck out of my PS3 controller. I guess the whole gimmick of this game was that you're supposed to play with a Kinect, or a Wii, or a PlayStation moveset, which I do not have. This game is not a platformer. The idea of a 3D platformer Puss in Boots game kinda sounds cool, and that's probably what you would expect from this game, but only thing you can expect from this game is something I can describe as a glorified quick time event. Or more accurately, what would happen if an entire game becomes a quick time event. The combat is even more mindless than the button mashing of the Spyro reboot series, my last video, and during the combat you can move left or right, and you can just basically have a spasm attack with your sword and defeat an enemy. It's easy. In chase sequences or running sequences in the game, you basically press X to make Garfield run, and if you're lucky enough, you get to steer him left or right again. If there's an obstacle in your way, I'm actually unsure whether or not you're supposed to run into them to get coins, or if you should avoid them. I don't know which one it is. It's all over the place. If there's a gap or a cliff or whatever in your run sequence, you basically just press X again to make Puss jump. And if you need to climb sideways, you just push the joystick left or right. If you need to climb up, you just push upwards on your joystick again. There's also some balancing parts on ropes and whatnot, where you just balance Puss. And when you least expect it in this game, you also get to play guitar for some sexy cats.
I must catch up with the. Why, señorita? What are you doing in a rough place like this?
Sometimes this fucking guitar solo even happens during a chase sequence.
I had escaped the danger of the explosion. Although there was clearly more danger to come. I've got to get out of here before the whole mine collapses. Unless something more important comes along.
You're fucking kidding me, right? Not only that, but in the later parts of the game, this guitar feature is also added into the combat of the game.
What the fuck is this?
If you thought that they ran out of ideas for this game, you're also allowed to rock baby boars to sleep. And also a major part of this game is sneaking. Yeah, you get to sneak around a lot. The control scheme for this sucks. You just have to wildly fucking spaz out on your joysticks again, back and forth, and then freeze when the game tells you to freeze. For some reason, there's a quick time event or whatever where you can like control Puss's hand when he's grabbing stuff. It's very slow and it's just awkward to look at. Other complaints about the gameplay I have are how long certain sections are, or how short they can be. The game is extremely short and it's very boring, at least for a 21-year-old. There's also only 9 levels.
Do you get it because he's a cat?
There's some cutscenes or cartoons between gameplay sections, and the style is horrible and looks cheap. The story isn't exactly the same as the movie, but it's very similar. A lot of it is cut out and reimagined, I guess, because it got released side by side with the movie. There's also a super short dance fight. I really don't have much else to say about this game, other than the fact that I expect a lot more out of this game, considering I finished it in about 1 hour and 30 minutes. There's also a multiplayer option, and you can play challenges and the mini games on the side if you don't feel like replaying the game. But what I was most worried about for this game was the language. You see, I got this off of eBay, and the box art and manual, it's all in Italian. So I was afraid for a minute that I would have to go for this game in Italian. I don't speak Italian, but it plays in English, and you can't change the language at all. It's all English, dub and sub. So if I was an Italian that bought this game off of eBay and expected it to be in Italian, I would be one angry Italian. Anyway, to end this short video off, here are some reviews and comments for the game by other people.
Gift. Excellent conservation. I'm very satisfied. Puss in Boots the game is perfect. You barely get to play cause the game keeps playing clips during the game. When you have to run, the game makes Puss in Boots run without you doing so. I beat it in an hour. I like it. My 3.5-year-old son completed it after about an hour and a half of play. Hardly any levels and not much effort needed to play on the Wii. My youngest grandson has a DS game and had asked if it came in the Wii version. I had looked everywhere and decided to look on Amazon website. I brought and had the game in 2 days. I surprised him with the game and he loves it. It is easy to play and lots of fun. Thank you so much, and in the future I will go to Amazon.com for future purchases. From a loving granny. It was a cheap game and I figured it wasn't worth it at first, but my 5-year-old loves the game. It gave him something to do and keep him out of trouble. I bought it for my Xbox and my kids were also playing mine, so I bought them one for their Wii console and theirs seemed to do more than mine. This one is a favorite of all 11 grands.
Lots of fun! I bought it for my little one and enjoyed playing it as well! Nice storyline!
My little one loves playing this. It is not super complicated, but speed is required. She is turning into a sword fighting expert. This was a gift for my grandson. He liked it. I don't know anything about the game. Like the movie.
Bad game, don't buy. Good game for kids, because the only thing you do is swing the remote to fight with the sword. You can't move the character around, it moves automatically.
Puss in Boots is very easy to learn, and I love Bandera's voice. I am 6 years old and I can play this game for hours and hours. Sometimes the games are too difficult to learn and get boring, but this game is so funny, just like the movie.